Welcome back to the only channel where a young, likely Caucasian male talks about something and expects you to take him seriously even though he has no life experience whatsoever. Recently I figured out something crazy. Who you are as a person, your entire being is based on what position the sun was in when you were born. Some people think your personality is based on a combination of how your brain developed in the womb and your life-changing experiences growing up. But no, the moment you happened to be born, the stars zapped you with some particles that determined your personality or something. All that brain development didn't do anything. It's all determined by that one moment. And you know, a rational person might think, if the sun determines your personality at a singular moment, wouldn't that be the moment of conception? Nah, apparently it's the moment you happen to move through your mother's vagina or come out via C-section. Here's the big shocker. I was actually being sarcastic. But that's what around a third of Americans actually believe. I'm not kidding about that. A third of Americans believe in zodiac signs. It's called astrology. You've definitely heard of it. The stuff with, like, again, zodiac signs and horoscopes and all that. Like, people asking what your sign is, which is like, what month were you born in? You're a Scorpio, you're a Capricorn, stuff like that. Not to be confused with astronomy, which is a real science. People use astrology to justify their actions. Like, sometimes you'll walk into a Starbucks and see a flock of white girls having a conversation, and you overhear one of them justifying the brutal drive-by shooting she participated in 3 years prior because she's a Capricorn or something, and they can be reckless sometimes, or something like that. I guess the reason people can believe in something so obviously not true is because most of the time they just don't really think about it. The average person doesn't really have an in-depth understanding of science, and trying to figure out your future and personality type based on charts and shit is actually kind of fun, so I can see the appeal. Another problem is it's all incredibly vague, which can actually make it seem more believable. One time my friend and I looked up the personalities of each of our signs, and even though the signs were different, it said about the exact same thing. Like, when it comes to cleanliness, you are clean in some situations, but you can sometimes get a little messy. Yeah, like every human being on Earth. It also said for both of them that they like to consider themselves logical, but they're also very emotional people at times. Like, what human would you walk up to and you're like, hey, are you logical? And they're like, nah, not at all, my dude. Are you kidding me? But the point is, people will read the personality description for their sign and they'll be like, yeah, I am like that. Because it panders to very basic things that pretty much every human has some sort of aspect of. I guarantee at least one person is going to comment, it is so much more complicated than you're making it out to be. The sun sign is only one tiny factor in a web of calculations that you can determine your future, your death date, and it's like, yeah, I understand that the ideology is a lot more complicated than just sun signs, but every single part of it is still just as meaningless and baseless. So I'm gonna look at this video where a professional astrologer tries to guess people's zodiac signs. Let's see if this is accurate after all.
My name is Ray Couture. I'm a professional astrologer.
And how long have you been an astrologer?
Between 45 and 50 years.
Hold on, how much does being an astrologer pay? I'm looking this up. Okay, so how much does an astrologist make, which I think astrologist is the same thing as astrologer. According to the Simply Hired website, astrologists bring home an annual salary of $42,000 as of this publication, which was in 2019. I mean, it's not like they're completely cashing out, but that's like more than the average individual salary in America. Yeah, they're making like $10,000 a year more than the average American, and I'm not even sure what they do. I'm assuming you like go to them for advice and they play with some cards and then tell you what to do with life or something. So I guess they're like therapists, but they don't actually offer anything. I don't know. So anyway, they grabbed a group of diverse millennials off the street, and this guy, our man here, the astrologer, is going to try to guess their sign.
What's your name?
Nathaniel.
How tall are you?
5'10".
Yeah, could I see your profile? Oh, okay. You're Scorpio.
What makes me a Scorpio to you?
The intensity. What did you study in college?
I didn't go to college.
Do you travel? Like, would you say a lot?
A lot.
Your hands?
What do you look for in the hands?
Whether they're fingers or claws.
Whether they're fingers or claws? I don't think this dude even knows what's going on. What if he's actually just some old man who escaped his retirement home and started telling people he's an astrologer?
What do I have?
Put them up this way and then turn them around. You're gonna see it that way. You have fingers, no claws.
Okay, he could have said you don't have claws, but the fact that he needed to specify you have fingers, no claws. Does that mean that some people just don't have fingers? It's just like a dog hand? All right, let me get a really, really good look at your hand before I determine that you have fingers.
Sagittarius.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome. How tall are you?
6'1".
Are you an artist?
I am.
You pick up a newspaper article or somebody hands you something to proofread. First thing you see is what's wrong with it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Wait, if someone's handing you something to proofread, isn't the point of doing that to spot what's wrong with it? Like, that would be the first thing you saw.
Color your eyes?
Hazel, I think.
Hazelish. And we'll go with Aquarius and leave it like that.
Okay.
Dude, he's acting like he's deducing this stuff, but this is all basic human traits. Like, now that I've discovered that 1, when you proofread things, you spot what's wrong with them, and 2, you have an eye color which probably more than 80% of the human race has, I now know you're an Aquarius. And because that other girl indeed did have fingers, I'm gonna go with Sagittarius.
Hi.
Hi. Well, you are different, aren't you?
What do you mean by different?
Challenging, bet you can't tell who I am kind of attitude.
All right then, dick. But really, that's like a basic thing you can tell about someone right after seeing them, and I'm not sure it relates to the date and time they were born. If you were to take a massive shit in the toilet, would that shit be a little more brown or blue? Okay, brown, Capricorn.
Here I am. This is fun. I don't care if I get any of them right. This is fun.
I'm having fun, but I don't know where I am and who you people are. I want to go home. So you will be surprised to learn that it turns out that he got the majority of them wrong. So then everybody swapped to their actual signs, and it was just mostly him going, dude, it was so obvious the whole time. How did I not know that?
How did I not do that?
I got Aquarius.
Did I get Virgo for you the first time?
No, it's Aquarius.
Oh, yeah. I had Aquarius?
Yeah.
Wow. What was wrong with me?
Guys, me from 5 minutes ago was a complete idiot, but now I'm a reformed, changed man, and I know what sign everybody is. It's obvious.
I'm an Aries, and you guessed me as a Taurus.
Guess you're a Taurus.
I was born April 19th, so I'm at the cusp.
So if it's near the cusp from Aries to Taurus, you'll have Taurus qualities as well as Aries qualities, and so that turns out to be your problem.
I like how he's like, well, actually, since I was so close date-wise, I was technically still right.
The Aries wants to go, and the Taurus says, is it worth it? Should I really do this? And so forth. So you have to sort of balance all those things.
Dude, having the urge to do something and then questioning if you should really do it is like the human experience. There's not a person on Earth who has not done that.
What are you studying?
I'm a film student.
Film student. So you want to connect with people through picture,
Yes.
right? And your grandmother was really, really important in your life.
Yeah.
Extremely
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
She took care of you.
Yeah.
You had to get what you needed from her because it wasn't coming from mom and pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not really sure why the audience laughed at that, but okay. I will admit that was a good guess. I will say, though, once you sort of make a general guess like your grandma was important in your life, you can kind of keep going with it, and as the person confirms more information, you can keep spitballing until it seems like you knew everything the whole time. What I'm trying to say is the reason he didn't just immediately say, well, your grandma was extremely important in your life and took care of you better than your parents ever could, was because if he had said that and been wrong, he would have looked like an idiot. But if he just starts it off with, your grandma was important in your life and had been wrong, then nobody would have cared that much. But again, it was a pretty solid guess, I will not lie. He's gonna do it again. You can make a general statement that can be applied to a lot of people's lives, like you went through some hardship in '08 when the economy crashed. And they'll be like, oh my god, I did, he knows.
That's me, right?
What's your birthday?
December 24th.
So you've already gone through, I won't call it a near-death experience. You were hanging on the edges for a while, about 3 years ago, or maybe even 4. You did the right thing. You had to do the right
Is it
thing.
referring to your divorce?
I think so. Again.
Okay, how did he start it off with, you went through a near-death experience 3 to 4 years ago and you did the right thing? And then she's just like, oh my God, my divorce, of course, my near-death experience of divorcing. And then the whole audience is like, wow, how did he do that? You went through a bad event at one point in your life. Oh my God, you're right, my dog died a few years ago.
Didn't you have difficulties until you were about 18 feeling worthless or not valuable?
Yeah.
It was in college. You ran into somebody who told you how great you really are.
Yeah?
Well, when I know what time and so forth, I can really figure this out. But, just the sunshine is a little hard.
I met my biological mom when I was 19.
Ah,
Oh my God.
and you met her.
Yeah.
And then she said, I love you.
Oh my God, no way, she said I love you? He's basically just saying at some point during your teenage years, you were depressed. That's like 90% of people. And again, remember, you can just go up to a random person and be like, were you depressed at any point during your teenage years? Yes. And then someone important talked to you. Yes. How did he know? Like, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like kind of stunned right now.
So what do you think about astrology? Kind of hooey?
The Zodiac itself, I think, is a little too broad and vague and can apply to everybody else.
A sane human being in this room.
Was this an okay experience?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you very much for entertaining me.
Honestly, he seems like a pretty genuine and nice dude. I don't think he's intentionally lying or intentionally being deceitful so that he can get people to believe in something that he knows isn't true. Like, I think he does genuinely believe in it and everything, and, I'm not going to make fun of him for it, even though I did this entire time. It's kind of crazy to me that this ideology is actually increasing in popularity among younger people. Like, you'd think as people become less religious, they'll also become less weird about zodiac signs and stuff, but I guess not. I guess we're going to have to deal with it. So moral of the story is, next time somebody brings up a zodiac sign to you, be like, dude, shut up.